Hello, and welcome to Module 4, Communication and Autism. Autism is a spectrum disorder. Therefore, there's a wide range of impact to individuals who are diagnosed under the umbrella of autism. Sometimes that impact is very subtle and may not even be noticeable to people who are not familiar with autism, while individuals with classic autism may be impacted in very obvious ways. Regardless of the degree or type of impact, whenever we're working with individuals with autism, we need to remember that all individuals with autism are challenged in the areas of communication. Some individuals with autism may have very limited verbal communication, or verbal communication may be absent altogether. However, many individuals with autism are able to say words, but still express very atypical patterns of language, speech, or communication. For example, echolalia is often common among individuals with autism. Echolalia simply means repeating what another person has just said. Immediate echolalia is just like it sounds. It means repeating something that was said immediately after it was said. For example, if I say to an individual, "Good morning, Charles, how are you today?" and that individual repeats, "Good morning, Charles, how are you today?" This is an example of immediate echolalia. Delayed echolalia, just like it sounds, means repeating something that's been said after some time has elapsed. An individual with autism may repeat parts of a TV show, a commercial, or phrases they've heard the night before. They may also repeat the morning announcements all through the school day. Yet another type of echolalia is called mitigated echolalia, and this just basically means repeating a phrase but changing that phrase somewhat. For example, if I told a class, "After lunch we'll all go outside for recess," and an individual with autism repeated, "Outside for recess, outside for recess," this would be mitigated echolalia. Sometimes individuals with autism ask the same questions over and over again. It's almost as if they're stuck on a certain question. It's likely that they're unable to form the question that will get them the information they need. Therefore, they just keep asking the same question over and over again, hoping they will eventually get what they're looking for. Also, individuals with autism may use nonsense words. These are words that they have created on their own, or ways that they've changed familiar words into their own language. I once worked with a young man who had a whole language all of his own. His parents were able to decode that language and could understand most of what he was saying. However, this greatly impacted his ability to communicate with people outside of his family. Poor eye contact or lack of eye contact is often associated with autism, and many individuals with autism do struggle with eye contact. This shouldn't be misunderstood as lack of interest or lack of respect. Sometimes individuals with autism fail to look at the speaker because they can listen better when they're not using two senses at one time. It is sometimes difficult for individuals with autism to look at a speaker and listen to them at the same time. Regardless of the cause for lack of eye contact, it greatly impacts effective communication for individuals with autism. As we talked about before, some individuals with higher functioning autism or Asperger's may exhibit very subtle communication differences. It is estimated that only about 10% of what we say, or 10% of our communication, is verbal. The other 90% or so is nonverbal communication. This can be the pitch of our voice, the tone of our voice, the volume of our voice, or our body language, such as our facial expressions or our physical gestures. Remember, we also talked about before that individuals with autism sometimes have difficulty using multiple senses at one time. If an individual with autism is not able to focus on the whole picture, then they're missing a large part of the message that's being communicated. If you will recall, we talked about theory of mind in our module on definition and characteristics. Theory of mind is a secondary characteristic of autism. This simply means the ability to put yourself in someone else's shoes. Theory of mind is the ability to look at things from another person's perspective. Theory of mind is very weak in individuals with autism. This too impacts their ability to communicate effectively. All of these things make it very difficult for individuals with autism to come up with appropriate responses during communication.